Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today we're going to be talking about this story that broke today. So apparently it was the Hollywood Reporter who came out with saying that their sources have confirmed that Henry Cavill has departed the DC universe, is no longer going to be DC Spider-Man, Superman. And to me, this isn't really that surprising. For one thing, we knew that there were some problems going on behind the scenes. We knew that Henry Cavill was wanting to form a different contract. Makes a lot of sense. He has a lot more notoriety now. His name is a lot more recognizable. He's done a lot more projects, and so it makes a lot of sense that he would be looking out for more money. And also, too, it makes a lot of sense if he'd be leaving because guess what? The DC universe is not in a very good place. You know, if you're a DC fanboy, please don't leave the comments on, oh my god, you're just a Marvel fanboy. You just don't understand. It's like, no, I have no problem with DC concepts. I have no problem with DC characters. I have a problem with bad movies, and DC has been nothing but a string of bad movies. Man of Steel was decent, but then they killed off one of the best villains that they've ever had, and also turned Superman into something that he never has been before. So you start off with that. Then you go on to the other films that have come out. You look to Suicide Squad, garbage, Batman v Superman. Oh my goodness gracious, probably the worst DC film that's ever come out. Justice League, not much better. And then you have Wonder Woman, which obviously is probably the only bright spot, but even that film is a B-level film. And the reason why I got so much praise and hype, like, let's just be honest, again, whenever we talk about film, again, remember there's that objective and subjective position. And objectively speaking, was Wonder Woman a good film? Yes, but was it perfect? Was it this amazing, groundbreaking production? No, not really. Unless you are an identity politics person and say, oh, but it's the first time that a woman and a woman, it's like, okay, we get it, we understand that, we get the concept, but that does not make the movie good. Just because something is diverse, just because something is the first time that it's ever happened, does not automatically make it good. We still have to look at the film objectively, and there were some objective flaws, especially with some CGI in the very early beginning, and also, of course, we have to look at the flaws with the villain, because, God, Lord, you could talk about the villain all day. But even with that all being the case, it makes a lot of sense that Henry Cavill would want to get out of the universe, would want to start fresh with something new. Again, he's a younger actor. I mean, he's not young. He's not as young as he used to be, because, again, this is a guy that was all the way back during the time the Tudors were coming out, so he's been in acting for a very long time now in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, he's not old by any means, but still young enough to be able to get other roles in the future. And so it'll be very interesting to see what actually happens going forward. But anyway, let's just actually read some of the article. So it says, Henry Cavill's time playing the Man of Steel may be coming to an end. Again, may being the very key term there. According to a report from the Hollywood Reporter, the actor will be hanging up his cape after contract talks over a Shazam Superman cameo fell through. So it sounds like, again, they were trying to get him to have a cameo appearance. They probably were not offering him enough money. And again, this is one of the unfortunate things that we see in Hollywood. Again, I don't like it either. I don't like how much these Hollywood elites are paid. I mean, I think Henry Cavill is probably one of the better people out of the rest of the Hollywood elites out there, but it's still doesn't take away the fact that a lot of these people just get paid way too much money to act in a film. Again, I'm not taking away anything from acting, but it's the same argument that I make for sports teams and sports players too, because I think that they also get paid way too much money. But this is really what we have going on here. This is what we have, and it's just I just don't really know exactly what is going to be going on in the future with this character. And again, it makes a lot of sense that he would be leaving, but if this is the case, then not only are they losing Superman, but there's also, again, that still very good chance that we could see Ben Affleck also leaving as well. Again, Superman may not be the only DC hero that's getting recast. Ben Affleck is said to be on his way out as well. Now, I think that this is both a positive and a negative, because I think that Ben Affleck in Batman v Superman was the only real positive part of Batman v Superman. The rest of the movie was garbage. He was a breath of fresh air, and then unfortunately his character just got destroyed in the Justice League and has been very inconsistent on top of that. But still does not take away from the fact that this leaves them in a very precarious situation, because, half of their core group is going to leave, was going to have left at that point. But it also gives them an opportunity. It also gives DC an opportunity to regroup, to think back about, what changes can they make, what mistakes have they made in the past, how can we avoid those mistakes. And I don't think it's going to get started with Aquaman. I mean, based on the trailer, it just looks like they're going to put some more CGI noise, CGI mess, CGI fest, as I like to say, on the screen. It's just not going to be very good. And again, now obviously, I don't know whether the film itself if the story is going to be able to hold, if they're going to actually have a good character development instead of him just being some random surfer dude. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but based on the trailer, it just doesn't look good, just doesn't look good at this point. So maybe this is the opportunity to recast these people, start fresh, have a reset, and actually do the DC universe as it should be done. But I can tell you one way not to do that is by following this. Now, I don't think this is going to happen. I do not think Michael B. Jordan is going to be cast as the new Superman for a variety of reasons, but one of the big ones I will say is because he has already featured in the MCU. Now, of course, people say, oh, but he's dead, he's gone, but still, whenever you die in the MCU, it's one of those things where they might want to bring you back. They might want to have have you on contract, especially since his character was so well received as a villain, might want to bring him back in a future film as, part of a flashback. They could easily probably make a Killmonger film all about his origin story. They could easily do that. And again, I think it would probably make some decent money. So that is the main reason why I just don't think this is going to happen. But the reason why I have an issue with this, and of course everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, like, why do you have such a big problem with it? And I have a feeling that this was leaked, that this was put out there to try and get some people to say certain things that they could then twist and say, oh, you're a bunch of racists, blah, blah, blah. But for me, here's the thing. It comes to the fact that traditionally speaking, and again, everyone's like, oh, he's Kryptonian. There's no mindset about Kryptonian. Yeah, but in the history of this character, from the comics to the TV series to the movies, again, he's always been portrayed as a white male. Simple as that. He's always been portrayed in that way. Now, the reason why I have a problem with it is not because I don't like Michael B. Jordan in the role. I think Michael B. Jordan is great and probably could do the role very well. The problem is that this is continuing on in this modern day age where instead of creating new characters, instead of trying to set aside and create new stories and new characters and new heroes, instead we see this attempt to try and bring identity politics into current franchises. And again, we saw that happen with some of the casting of The Witcher. Now we're starting to see that possibility happen with Superman. And again, I just don't think it's good. I just don't think it's good for what they're trying to do. I don't think it's good for diversity itself, because again, when you're trying to force diversity, when you're trying to say, oh, we have to do this now because now it's time for a black Superman, it's like, okay, if you're going to talk like that, if you're going to have race on your mind, that's a problem. Because when you make decisions, especially casting decisions, story decisions based on race and gender, that's problematic. That is racism and sexism to a T when you're making decisions based on that. When it comes to this, though, when it comes to the traditional character of Superman, though, again, we kind of have to follow along the same line. Again, I'll take a very different perspective on this when you talk about James Bond, because again, James Bond, people might say, oh, well, you could say the same thing for James Bond. The difference with James Bond, though, is that he's always been played by a Brit, and it's been pretty much well known that 007 is just a code name, because the different actors are obviously not the same person over this long span of time, and so you could easily have the story be, oh, it's a code name, and that's what you could bring in someone like an Idris Elba, who I think would be an amazing James Bond. But again, that story is able to shift in that way. And again, as long as the cast is being done because Idris Elba is a badass, which again, I have no problem with, that's fine. But this story is a little bit different because there is no way for you to be able to twist it unless you change the entire backstory and the entire history of the character. And that I'm just not okay with. Again, when you're doing that just for the sake of race and for equality and all these other things, I just don't think that's good. I just don't think that's the way that you move forward. I don't think that's the way that you build diverse cast. Instead, why not focus on making, again, new characters with new stories? Again, Black Panther was, again, not my favorite film, but still a solid film nonetheless with really great characters. I'm not going to take away from the fact that Michael B. Jordan was fantastic, that Chadwick Boseman was fantastic. We're fantastic in those films. However, when it comes to this case, I just don't think this would be good, because at the end of the day, this is nothing more than, again, politically driven producers. And I really do think they're just floating the name out there because they want people to say certain things to get sound bites and to say, oh my goodness, oh, look at all the racists that exist. It's like, no. With this character, with this backstory, you really just can't do this. You really just can't do this. And again, I don't think it's going to happen. There's reason why I think and speculate that this was just them throwing the name out there because they wanted to cause some chaos. And I really do think that it has been doing so because, again, we've had a lot of people come out just asking why. Why would you do this? Like, there really is no point to doing this. It really just doesn't make any sense from a story perspective. But again, going back to Henry Cavill, I'm really sad to see him go because, again, I actually like him as an actor. I think that he's very talented. I've liked some of the work that he's done. And unfortunately, again, especially when we look to Mission Impossible, I thought he was great in Mission Impossible 6, Fallout. However, I do think this might be the right move for him career-wise, especially since DC just is not going anywhere. But it's also beneficial to DC because if DC can finally, take this and say, oh, all right, now we're going to go back. Now we're going to create a new and better story. Then I think they might have something on there. But anyway, guys, what do y'all think about this? Do you think Henry Cavill is gone? Again, this is all rumor at this point. This has not been confirmed yet. Obviously, it seems like it's credible, but we honestly don't know at this point. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Henry Cavill is out of this franchise? And also, do you think that there's any credibility to the Michael B. Jordan rumors? Or do you think, like I do, that someone put this out there because they wanted to get a reaction? That's honestly what I think it's going to be. But also, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this could possibly work? And if you do, please give me a reason. Don't just say, oh my God, you're such a racist, blah, 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 blah. Oh, the patriarchy, blah, blah. Don't go into that Don't go down that rabbit hole. Don't go into the realm of identity politics. Instead, just have a logical explanation as to how it could be made to work. and I will be glad to listen to that. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. You are all amazing people. Again, if you like this video, I'm all over the place today. Hit that thumbs up if you like this video. Hit that subscribe as well. It really does help me a lot. We just hit 4,000 subs, and I'm just so amazed and thankful to this community for helping me grow, because again, it's not just me, it's us. And the fact that we are able to, to do this on a day-to-day basis, and we're able to have all this kind of fun is great. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.